Okay, so with this video, you can feel free to stop and copy down things at any time. I'm just going to go through the lesson as I normally would. What we're going to be looking at today is operations with rational numbers, so operations with fractions. So BEDMAS still applies with everything. So first, we always want to make sure that we are, I'm going to grab a highlighter here. We always want to make sure that we are getting rid of our mixed numbers first, because we don't want mixed numbers, and only divide out when multiplying. This is one of those reducing things that get confusing when we start to put fractions together. Simplify our double signs and reduce everything. You can forget about this part, because I don't want you to do this, because it's dumb. So forget about that. Look at that sound effect. Okay. So looking at this, the first thing that we want to do, I'm going to go back to a highlighter here. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is this part. Because when we look at BEDMAS, we go brackets, there's no brackets, or there's nothing we can do inside this. Exponents, there's none. Division, and that's what we're at. So we're at division. So when we divide, we flip the second fraction, make a multiplication, we end up with that. Okay, well now I've got a negative and a negative, but what I'm actually going to do is, let's go back to a pen, I'm going to get rid of these 7s, because they're both going to divide by 7. Negative and negative makes it positive, so what I'm left with is negative 1 times negative 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 7. Now we need to find a common denominator between 7 and 2. Well, that's 14. 7 times 2 is 14. So we're going to do 2 times 7, get 14. 2 times negative 3, get negative 6. And over here, we're doing 7 times 2, we get 14. And 7 times 3 to get our 21. Then we get our answer of negative 27. Negative 6 minus 21 more is negative 27 over 14. Alright. When you're doing these examples, it might be helpful to try them first and see if you've got them right. You can obviously feel free to just copy them down, but it's always more helpful if you actually try them first. Alright, looking at this one, the first thing I would notice is that I'm dividing by a whole number. So when I divide by a whole number with a fraction, I'm going to make that 14 over 1. So that's 14 over 1. So then when I actually divide, I can change it to 1 over 14. And you can always keep the positive or the negative at the top. So I can actually do this with the brackets, and I can pretend that there are brackets here as well, and I can do this right now too. So I'm going to cancel these 2 3's out, because that's multiplying, and that's not going to change anything after that subtraction sign. So I'm going to cancel those 2 3's out, and I'll get 5 over 8 outside the brackets. But I'm also going to cancel this 7 with this 14, and I'm going to get a 2 right there. So what I'm left with is 1, or negative 1, and 24 minus 5 over 8. Common denominator here is 24, because I can do 8 times 3. So that's going to be 8 times 3 is 24. Got to do the same on top and bottom. So we get 5 times 3 is 15. And we get negative 16 over 24, which after we put them together, we can reduce that to negative 2 over 3. Alright, last one. We got a whole bunch of brackets here. We got a division out here. You can do all this stuff inside the brackets, kind of leave that times, and then do all this stuff if you really want to. What you should notice is we can make a common denominator right here. 4 times 4 is going to give me that 16. I'm going to move the negative up, or get rid of my double sign and just make it a subtraction, which I've done here. So I did 4 times 4, which was 16. 4 times 3 is 12. Positive and a negative is a negative. Outside here, I flipped that last fraction and made it multiply. Now what I'm going to look at, this and this are going to cancel. I'm going to have a 2 out here. Inside the brackets over here, negative 3 minus 12 is negative 9. I'm left with 3 times 1 over 2 times 1, so 3 over 2. I'm going to multiply those, and that is it. This one was actually longer at the start, but shorter at the end. And there's some worksheets on the Google Classroom for you to work on.